Well, hello there, crafty friends. Welcome back to Heather Lane Crafts. I'm Heather, and today we're going to be diving into a super fun girls trip ocean getaway 2-page scrapbook layout. I'm so excited about this one because I'll be using some brand new products that are releasing on March 3rd, and they're absolutely perfect for this beachy vacation style projects that you might have. Before we jump in, I do have a little disclaimer. If I sound a bit funny today or randomly sneeze, it's because I am fighting off a pretty ugly cold. So just pretend it's part of the ambiance, like ocean waves, but with tissues. Even though I'm a little under the weather, I couldn't wait to sit down and create because this layout is all about fun memories, relaxed coastal vibes, and that special magic of a girl's getaway. I'll be working on a 2-page spread with lots of layers, playful details, and some fresh new goodies that you'll definitely want to see close up. So grab your favorite drink as usual, get comfy, and craft along with me, and let's escape to the ocean, sneezes and all. Let's just go. Here we go. All right, so we've pulled our mats. Let's get some paper out here. Okay, so I've had some time to think about this and gone ahead and cut my papers down, and I've set aside the pictures that are going to go into the flip flaps and just pulled the ones that are going to be glued down to the layout. So let's take a look at what I've decided to do here. After playing with this for quite a while, I've decided to go ahead and just stick with the country woods as my accent pieces for this layout. The base page I'm going to go with here, I decided to just keep that solid basic beige because it's a lot going on with these patterns, and so I wanted to just keep the center of it rather plain so your eyes would have a place to rest and draw the attention to the photos and not all the paper's pretty. We still want our photos to be the focal point. And so when your papers get too busy, if you have too many patterns competing with each other, then people are looking at the competing patterns and not your photos, which is the whole reason we do this, right? It's to showcase our photos. This is what I'm going with here. Got all these cut down. Let's see, that does go right across the center there. I'm just kind of placing it here. We'll figure out the exact location here in a little bit. So I'm just kind of putting these up here where I think they go. And you can kind of see what I've decided in terms of the layouts of these prints here. I just felt like keeping that middle in that solid color really did allow the photos to shine. There's that laid out. And then let's bring our pictures in here. And again, remember, I've altered this sketch to work with the photos that I had. So I've got these ones here that are going to go on this page. I changed the 5x7 to 3 of the 3x4.5. So that's what I've got here is 3. These are 4.5 by 3. And I did 3 of them rather than one 5x7. And then this is a 4x4. And then I've got my 4x6 over here. And then again, I altered these two 4x4s to be 3 3x3s. There. And again, these are the photos that are going to be glued down, and then I'll have flip flaps on top of those. And I've set those pictures aside for later. So this is what I've got so far. I haven't gone any further than this. Next thing I need to do is play with, do I want to ink around the edges, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to do. And then if I do, what color do I want to do that in? And then the next thing we need to start doing is thinking about our title. What do we want to call this? And then how do we want to embellish this? What do we want to do with these 3 spots here? But I can still move this down and put a cluster here. And then I've got room for a cluster here still. I'm not going to have room for this cluster down here, but I can kind of shift it over and maybe put one closer on this side and then bring this one down this way and then this one up here. So we can still make this work even though we altered the sketch just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and pause you here, and I'm going to probably ink up the edges and maybe do some die cutting, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut my papers down, and what we have here is all the sketch components here with the background papers. So I'm going to go ahead and put these into place. Let's go ahead and get these somewhere along these lines here. And then I've got the background focal paper here that we've cut down, and I did ink around the edges of this one with the Early Espresso. I also inked around the edges of this one with Early Espresso, and the same thing on this side. So we're just going to replicate that over here like so. There we go. Down here. Man, the brain fog was real. I couldn't. I genuinely tried. I wanted to get a video out to you guys last week, and I just could not even think straight. So I came up to my craft room like once or twice, and I sat here and I stared at my desk and decided it just was not going to work. So went back downstairs. I spent more time blowing my nose than I did actually creating anything. So I just gave up and went downstairs, and that's when you guys got that message from me saying, hey, I'm calling in sick, because I genuinely did just have to call in sick to life in general. Not only my full-time job outside of this, but I did end up having to call in sick for that, but I also ended up having to call in sick to you guys, and I apologize for that. I mean, I know we can't control being sick, but I genuinely could not create anything. My brain was just in a fog and my body was in so much pain. So we're going to try and get back to it today and get this going for you. So now I've got the photos laid out here. And the next thing I'm thinking I might want to do is along the bottom. This sketch calls for a little bit more room down here along the bottom, but because our photos extend further down to where this is at right here. So ours photos go from the top all the way to the bottom, because we've got 3 photos here rather than just the one 5x7. So we don't have this space right here. Can you see what I mean here? So my original plan was to run a scene along the bottom here and have it kind of extend all the way through. We might still be able to pull that off and just have the scene kind of continue behind this photo and have it kind of stop right here. And so I'm going to give that a try and see what we can come up with. And what I want to do is I want to use this new stamp set that's coming out March 2nd or 3rd, I believe. I will put it up here in the screen, up top up here, and I'll make sure you guys know when this is coming out. But this is called the Rolling Waves set, and this is going to create the coolest little beach scene along the bottom here. And it's got all these fun dies, these umbrella dies, and these ocean waves, and these seashells. And I just think this is going to be the perfect little scene building for along the bottom here. I'm really trying to get rid of the cat here, and I just swiped my whole page. Okay. When you have got pets, that's just one of the realities that you deal with, is the pet hair. So, okay, kind of back to normal here. It doesn't have to, nothing's glued down. Everything's just dry fit right now. So we'll come back to that and get that perfect later on. So anyways, back to this. I'm thinking I might just try and create that scene here along the bottom, that ocean scene. I'm also thinking maybe some more shells if we need them. So I've got these ones here. I've pulled even some really old school ones. I've got this, I think this is called Friendly Seagulls or something like that. I think, seeing the seagulls at the beach was always fun. I also pulled this one, which is called Beach Day. And this has got some fun dies back here. We're not doing palm trees because this is Washington State and we don't have palm trees in Washington State. So won't be using that one, but there's some other things in here that we could use. Also pulled Utterly Amazing because this one has some great like seaweed and kelp dies. We've got driftwood here. So I always see driftwood at the ocean. So I've just pulled anything let me just say this. I keep all of my stamps organized digitally in an app called Microsoft OneNote. And so what I do is when I want to find an image that is going to work with the theme of the layout that I'm doing, is I go into OneNote and I type in, for this one, I just typed in ocean. And that brought up all of the stamp sets that I have where I've tagged the stamp set as ocean. So all of these were tagged as ocean because they're all things that you would find at the ocean. Seaweed, is found at the ocean. I also pulled Friendly Fins. We've got all the little ocean characters here. We've got stingrays and dolphins. And, again, we don't have dolphins or stingrays here because those are tropical things, but we've got sharks and schools of fish and coral. So that one, I also pulled Ocean Friends. This is another one we could work with. Some more that I pulled. We've got Beach Time. This is another one that came up as ocean, and then we're not tropical, but we are at the beach. It is a getaway. It was summer. So any of these things, we could add little wordy bits to our clusters. And one of my favorite of all times is the Seaside Wishes. This is one of my favorite ones that I have here, and I'm definitely going to pull some of this stuff into that as well. And now a couple of other things that I pulled that aren't ocean related. I pulled this one, Capturing Smiles, because obviously that's what we're doing. We are capturing some big smiles here. So little cameras always work for that. This set is also coming out in the 1st of March as well. And so I'll put that one in there for you as well. And then we are riding horses on the beach. I don't think any of these photos show that, but some of the ones that are going to go in the flip flops. So we're riding horses on the beach. So, maybe I can throw a little horsey down here. I have no idea how this is going to come together. I just pulled anything that I thought might work with the photos. I also grabbed the Notes and Totes set because it's got this little picket fence thing here. It's got some shells and the little tote bag. Any of this stuff could work. Here we've got our tote bag that we took to the beach with us. So any of these can work. So I just pulled a whole bunch of stamp sets, and I'm just going to kind of stamp up some things off camera, and I'm going to do some die cutting, and then I will be right back. Okay, so I have all of the cardstock glued down. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my new stamping platform here, and I'm going to be working with the stamp set called Rolling Waves. I'm going to be working with Rolling Waves stamp set, and I have already stamped out the other side. So I thought I would show you how I'm doing this, though, because as I was putting this together off camera, I'm like, you guys are probably going to want to see how this came together. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and put the Rolling Waves stamp on here. And this is basically just that background image that's going to create the, oh my goodness, so much cat hair, mango. I'm going to create the actual water with this. And let me see if I can show you that on here. So it's this one right here that I have on my platform. And I'm going to create the actual water with that. And that's going to go along the bottom of my page. All I've done is put this on here. I'm going to actually move this to where it's kind of coming off the page. And that's why I have this background paper here. So I'm going to have this coming off just a little bit. Let's see, maybe there. Let's see. We want, yeah, I think we want that one there. Okay, so I'm going to have just that coming off just a little bit like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab that up with my lid, push down and pick it up. Just like normal, turn that over. And then I'm going to use Balmy Blue. I tried this initially with Pool Party and I tried it with Coastal Cabana. And ultimately the water just looked too tropical for where we were. The West Coast, at least in Washington, is not the bluest water. It's very grayish blue water. And I thought I might use Cloud Cover, but that just looked too depressing. So I went with the compromise, which is Balmy Blue is what I'm using here. So I've just stamped that up really good. And I'm going to turn it over and make sure I can read my Stampin' Up sign right here. And I'm going to put my lid on. And because this is a larger surface area of a stamp, I'm going to go ahead and just push it down. But then I'm going to use my little hockey puck and just kind of run it over. I'm not pushing hard. I'm just making sure that there's even pressure all along the entire image. I wanted a good impression there. I'm going to leave it there for a second and then let go. Okay. So that's what that looks like. That's gorgeous. It does actually look like real water. So I want this continue all the way down my page. So I'm going to move my magnets out of the way really quick. I'm going to set this over here and I'm going to slide my paper down just a smidge, and I'm making sure that stays lined up with these pegs. Relocate my magnets here, and then I'm going to grab my image again, and I'm going to line this up so that it kind of continues where we want this to go here. So let's go ahead and move this one. I kind of want them to overlap a little bit. You don't want these to be super like continuous, so I'm just going to kind of do that like that, kind of angled it a little bit, and then I'm going to pick this up again, okay, and then I'm going to stamp it out again with my Balmy Blue. Just like so. Stamp that down. Stampin' Up is facing me. Push down, and I'm going to rub it out here with my hockey puck. That's what I call this. It's not a hockey puck. It's like those things that you play ice hockey with. That's what these remind me of. My daughters, when they come up here, they think they're like, where's the ice hockey table? And I'm like, I don't have one. They're like, then why do you have one? They think I stole this from the bowling alley. I'm like, honey, I haven't been to the bowling alley since you kids were small. I guarantee I didn't keep that long. Besides, I don't think they come in pink. So that's not the greatest impression, but that's okay because we're going to cover this up with the die cuts. So I'm going to move this down just a little bit more. I do want this to continue all the way down this page. And then I'm going to move this one. I want this one to kind of overlap just a little bit more. Bring that one up that way. And let's pick this guy up again, just like that. And we'll stamp him back out again. One more. I think we might have to do this one more time just to make sure it comes all the way off the page. Okay. And then we'll put this down, press down, and let's rub the guy out again. I think we got pretty good impression this time. All right, give that a second to kind of soak in, and then we'll let go. Okay, well, that's okay. You know what? Water's not perfect. I think it's because I'm on the edge of my mat right here. And so it's not a straight, even surface. It's right where that corner, the edge of this is at. And that's fine. I'm going to cover this up anyway. So we could actually just, go over that a second time with this image. And that should be fine because we're going to take this off the edge here again. So I'm just going to do like that. Cover that up like that. And I'm actually going to, I'm going to move this over a little bit. I was trying to stay even in the camera for you, but I'm going to need to move this over to the side a little bit. So I'm not stamping over that seam. There we go. I'll just come over this way a little bit. I know you can still see because my mats I try to keep my mats in view here. So let's pick that up and let's put this other magnet back down. Stamp him back up again. One more time. One more time. I'm not a singer, so I won't do that to you. Here we go. Let's stamp it down. Tell me though, who knows what song that's from? I know any of my 70s babies who were, went to high school in the 80s and 90s, you're going to know what that song was. All right. Here we go. Okay, so that's a pretty good water looking image to me. I'm very happy with that. So I'm going to clear this off and then I'm going to come back and I'll show you what I'm going to do with it. Cleared our desk back out to where we just have our two mats here. And I'm bringing in our stamped image. This is what we just stamped and my cutting mat here. And what I want to do, so here's the other side I already created. And this is going to line the bottom of it. So I kind of want to make sure that that is the same distance. And I cut it down to 10.5 because I do want it to line along the basic beige that I have here. So I'm going to cut this down to 10.5 first. So let's cut that here, get that nice and lined up. Okay, there we go. And then what I want to do is I'm going to just use this one as my guide to make sure that they're exactly the same. And I'm going to just use like some little pencil marks here. Okay. I'm just going to do a little tick mark where I want those to be cut down to so that it continues correctly across both sides. We'll cut that just above that line there. And I'm going to line those tick marks up here right in the center of the groove here. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to kind of bring this up. So there's this groove right here and that little tick mark, I want to cut just on top of that because I went just below it. So I'm going to move that just slightly to the left of where that's going to cut. So just maybe right there. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we want it to be close enough. And the scoring blade out of the way, cut that down. Here we go. So now I've got two sets that's going to go all the way across. Okay, let's get this guy out of the way. So this is going to come underneath this one. Now the sketch doesn't call for that, but again, as I keep saying, sketches are meant to be inspiration. They don't have to be followed exactly. This is going to come in. Oh, I got some blue right there. We're going to have to cover that up with something. I got blue all over my hands again. Wouldn't you know it? And I'm only 5'1", so I secretly think I'm trying to turn myself into a legitimate Smurf. I think subconsciously, somewhere along the way, I am trying to turn myself into a Smurf because I love to turn my hands blue whenever I'm using blue ink. And it's only blue ink for some reason. None of the other colors do that to me. If you haven't seen how this comes together, I do need maybe one or two more for this side. So I'll go ahead and cut those out really quick and I'll show you how I did that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in my big shot. So I have to tell you guys really quick before we do this, I did just order the mini Stampin' Up die cut machine and I cannot wait to get that. I took advantage of the free shipping that ends today as the time of this filming, so you probably won't be able to take advantage of that come the time I get this posted, but I did take advantage of that and hopefully you guys did too. And I ordered the mini one, which will be so much nicer for me to use when I'm trying to show you guys something on camera so I don't have to bring this big guy out. So let's go ahead and bring in, this is Pool Party cardstock and I just cut 8.5 by 11 piece down to 4.25 by 11. I'm going to bring in the piece that we need to use for that. The way I do mine is I got my cutting plate down here and I put my Pool Party down and then my die, and then it doesn't need to be positioned really well because it's going to cut the whole thing out. So, and then we'll give this a good once down, once back. And then you might have to use your little pokey tool, which is, again, one of my favorite tools of all time. And I use it so much. Your take a pick tool. And usually what I do is I'm going to do this over the trash can and I'll be right back. I'm just going to poke out all of these pieces and I'll be right back. Now we have two of these cut out and these are the base pieces that is actually the water. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab some white. So I'm going to cut, the next one is this one right here. And I'm going to go ahead and put that guy in there and I'll show one on camera. And then I'm going to cut the other ones out. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut this guy out also in white 2 times. So I'm going to cut this one out 2 times and then I'm going to put them on here together. Work smarter, not harder, Heather. Okay, so I'm going to put those on there and I'm going to cut these ones out and then I'm going to just repeat that one more time. So I've got 2 sets of each and then I'll poke all the little tiny holes out of each one off camera so that you don't have to watch me do that. Let me punch these guys, all these little tiny bits out and I'll be right back. Okay, I went ahead and took the big shot away. We've got all of our pieces here now and I'm going to show you how these glue together. I'm going to go ahead and slide this out of the way so I don't get glue on my layout that I don't want in places I don't want glue. And then I'll just work right here. What I like to do is just have a little piece of scratch paper or my glass mat or something out so that I don't get glue on my mat either. I'm going to bring in a piece of cardstock here and put it down to work on top of. So here's all of our pieces and I'm using the Barely Art Precision Craft Glue. This is my go-to. This is what I use for pretty much everything. So when I'm working with something like this, I need to be able to reposition things and slide things around. That's when this comes in handy. I've got 2 sets of each thing here. So let's take a look at all of our pieces. So we've got 2 of those, 2 of those, and 2 of these. So the way these come together, I'm gonna go ahead and move this out of the way so I don't lose it. It's gonna go right there. So I'm just gonna grab one of each. I'm gonna move the other ones out of the way, put one of each over here, and then we'll work with this set right here. And I'll put one together on camera, and then I won't make you watch me do the other, but I want you to be able to see how this comes together. This piece literally lines up directly with this one. Hopefully you can see that before I glue that down. See how those ridges line up almost exactly? That's how you know you've got it facing the right direction. So I'm gonna just kind of put some glue down. I know this is gonna kind of come through a little bit, and that's okay. This glue dries clear, so I'm not worried about that. And then I'm just gonna kind of line this up here rather than get my head in the shot here. I know you guys are tired of seeing that. I'm gonna line this up this way, just pick it up a little bit, and then I'll show you. And I'm just kind of sliding it until it's lined up exactly the way I want it, right in those, it fits those grooves perfectly. So that's what that looks like. I didn't bother putting any glue down here. That's not gonna be a problem. This goes on the back of this like this. So I'm gonna flip this guy over, and I just put a little bit of glue around the edge there. And then this is gonna go on the back side. And this is where you can kind of play a little bit, because it does give you a little bit of leeway as to how much of that you want showing. It's not an exact lineup. Make sure that the edges aren't showing. I don't like the edge of that paper to show through. So that's it. That's how it goes together. And then when it lines up on top of this like that, it looks like water. So let me go ahead and glue these other pieces down, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've already gone ahead and done this side, and I thought, you know what, it'd probably be better for me to show you this technique. As an afterthought, decided I wanted to make this look more like sand, but I had already glued these down. So I am trying very carefully to come back and add some sand to this, sand texture, I should say. And to do that, what I'm doing is I'm just using some regular copy paper here as like a mask. And I brought in the sand stamp from the Notes and Totes. Lots of different stamp sets have this like splatter look. I just felt like this one fit the scale of what I was trying to do best. So that's the one I went with. And I put it on a block, and I'm just trying very carefully not to get ink in places I don't want it. That is the tricky part a lot of the times for me, because I am a messy stamper. I get ink in lots of places. You know, sometimes when I'm done, I go wash my hands, and I'm like, how did I get ink on my nose? Don't ask me. I don't know. I'm just kind of covering up my ocean waves there because I don't want any sand on my white tide. So I'm just covering that up, and then I'm kind of going along this like this. I'm kind of re-inking as I go. I do like that to be somewhat dark. So then now I'm just going to really turn this and angle it so that I get right into here. And I already goobered over here. I wasn't careful, and I got it on my white background. So I'm going to have to fix that. But over here, I'm just kind of lining this up now and getting these weird angles in here, being really careful not to get any on my white surf. If we do, I'm going to show you how I cover that up so that you won't be able to see it, and it's hard to even see to the naked eye. There we go. That looks pretty good. I think I want to get just a couple more dots in right here so it doesn't look like it just abruptly ends there. I'm happy with that. That looks like sand. And let me kind of show you. I did get one little spot. You probably can't even see it. The camera's probably not even picking it up. But what I do is I come back with my Sakura Jelly Roller 10, and I just kind of dab this white gel ink right over the top of where I maybe got just the tiniest hint. You probably can't even see it. Like if I hadn't pointed it out, you probably wouldn't even notice it. But I like to I'm a perfectionist, and I like to see like this I got a little piece of brown ink there. Sakura Jelly Roller fixes all that. That's how I got the sand on there. And I'm going to go ahead and continue die cutting some things, and I will be right back. So as you can see, I've gone ahead and cut out the word ocean shores. Well, you can't see the words yet, but you will. I've cut out the word ocean and the alphabet a la mode dies from Stampin' Up. The ocean is cut out of alphabet a la mode, and then the word shores I cut out of the mini alphabet dies. And I'm just gonna bring you along to see how that's gonna work. I'm gonna slide this guy over so we don't get ink on our layout, and I'm gonna bring in my sticky mat. And for this, because I'm working with blue ink, and y'all know me and blue ink, how close we like to be to one another, and we don't like to come off each other. So I am going to glove up to prevent myself from becoming a Smurf this time, because me and blue ink, you know. So I'm going to bring down the word ocean and just kind of get these as lined up as possible so I can just do an even straight across. I might even just grab my T ruler here really quick. Put this down here. So let's turn this around and kind of put that up high. There we go. It doesn't need to be perfectly straight because they're not going to stay here. I just kind of want to make sure that when I do this treatment to them, I'm going to make it look ombre. Mango's trying to knock my stuff on the floor here. Can you get down, little guy? What was I saying? I want to make sure that the ombre effect is kind of going straight across. And if they're not lined up properly, we may not have a straight line with our ombre. I'm not even spelling the word ocean correctly right now, and that doesn't matter. How many people is that going to drive crazy that the word ocean is not spelled right now correctly? There we go. Okay, so kind of mess them up a little bit trying to get that ruler off our sticky mat, but we'll be all right. That is close enough. So what I've done is I've pulled 2 ink pads and kind of sticking with the same theme we've got going here. I've got Misty Moonlight and Balmy Blue. Excuse me, I am still recovering from my cold. Pardon the occasional cough or sneeze. I am doing my best to contain it. I think this congestion is probably going to hang around with me for a little while. So I've got one foam dauber here that's prepared for the Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to just stamp that guy up. And I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up, and I'm going to start dark and then go light. So I'm just going to cover up this top half, just more to just really hold them down. This sticky mat isn't as sticky as it was once upon a time. And I think a lot of that has to do with Mr. Mango down here. He likes to get up here and lay on things, and his little hair gets on everything and it removes the sticky from things that should be sticky. You know how that goes. Any of you who have pets, you understand. I've got a pretty good stamp going here, and that looks pretty good to me. I kind of went like maybe a third of the way, maybe. I think that looks like that's about a third of the way up, and I wanted it pretty dark down here at the bottom. So then I'm going to grab the other dauber that I have. This one's set up with the Balmy Blue. So I'm going to take this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my mat around. And now I don't want this going all the way to the top because I want that top part to be white still. So I'm going to start fairly low and let these overlap colors. You can kind of see, because you don't want there to be straight lines across. So I want that to kind of fade into the other color here. And I'm trying to keep these. This is why we tried to line them up the best we could, because I want that line to come across. So let's get these stamped down in here. And I'm just stamping it in the ink. I'm not stamping off on anything. I'm just stamping it in the ink pad and then right onto the letters. Ocean waves aren't straight lines, are they? They kind of go across. And that's kind of what I'm trying to make this look like, is like the ocean waves. You know how it's like darker out, further out you go, and then when it comes in, it turns white. And like we've got going here, right? I think I like that. So there's our word ocean. And I think I'm going to do the same treatment to the word shores. Okay, friends, I had to take a couple of days off from this layout because I just ended up being so sick. I couldn't even focus. I had some serious brain fog, and there was just nothing I could do to make this page work. So I took a couple days off from it, and during that time our friend Mr. Mango decided to knock some things over, and he ruined my original design. So needless to say, I had to reprint the pictures, redo all of this, and on top of that I had run out of the Country Woods paper that I had here, so I had to improvise and come up with something else. So I ended up going with this water background from this set right here, the Beach Boardwalk set. So it's the water piece that's inside here. That's why this does look a little bit different, because I ended up having to literally start from scratch. So this is back to where I believe it should be now, and I've gone ahead and matted my photos down. I did mat them in Secret Sea. I know that the design over here doesn't call for this strip down the middle, but like I said, we did change some things up along the way. So I ended up just doing that for the sake of making this all one piece and spacing them out evenly here. The other thing we did is, because I liked the way this ocean thing was kind of working along the bottom, rather than doing 3 of the 3x4.5s like I originally planned, I jumped that down to 2 and just did flip flaps. So I've already attached my flip flaps here. I'll just cut a slit in the page for those ones, and then the other ones I'll put on the outside. Basically, this page is done. We just need to embellish. So I've got my tray of embellishments here. I'm not sure how much of this we're going to use. We'll work with some of it and just try and just put this together now and call this page done, because I've literally made it twice now and I'm ready to be done with this one. I also made some wordy bits with the Beach Time set right here. I just stamped these in Secret Sea, and then these ones I cut out with this Spotlight on Nature die, and these ones I just cut out with my trimmer. So I've got those ready to go. I also have my little horsey. I've got some of the sand dollars ready to go from this set here, the Seaside Wishes. So I've got that ready, and then these guys right here were dies from that. And then I did cut out like the corally reef stuff, the underwater things there. So I've got some of that. cat on here as well. And I did make some crabs with this guy, the Hello Friends set. And then, I cut out the camera from here and some little hearts from this set as well. So I've got a bunch of things here ready to go. I cut out my little shark, the hammerhead shark guy from Friendly Fins. And then I cut out the little lobsters from this set as well. Got a bunch of things we can work with here, and I'm not sure what I'm going to put where. So the first thing we need to do though is we need to tack down our title up here. So let me see if I can find that in here. Tell me this guy isn't super cute. We have to throw him on here somewhere. This is the little guy from Friendly Fins. This little hammerhead shark. I think he is just the most adorable thing. I just love him. I'm going to give him a little name. What should we call him? Link in the comments below. Tell me, what should we name our little hammerhead shark guy? I just think he is just the cutest little thing ever. Should we put him swimming in the ocean down here, or should we put him up top? I don't know. We'll come back to that, but I just think he's super cute. Okay, so let's find our title. We've got, so remember we spelled out Ocean Shores. I'm super happy with how these letters came out. The ombre effect on these, I really, really, really like them. I can see doing this in so many different color palettes too. It doesn't have to be like ocean waves, which is what this is designed to look like, but it could literally be anything. Like you could do that with any color palette. You could make it look like a sunset if you were like had sunset photos or anything like that. So many possibilities you could do with that. Okay, I know all the letters are in here. I may just find all these and then come right back to you. I think they're all in here, but there's one. Okay, let me get these glued down and then we'll come right back. Okay, we've got our title glued down, and my next process usually is to start with my bigger pieces first that I think I might want to use. Those would be these sand dollars, this little wordy bit here. I already have kind of a little plan for my horsey. I'm thinking I kind of want to put him down here like playing in the surf here, like kind of on the beach, but in the surf there. I like that. And then I thought these are really big too, so I kind of want to pull these in. I think I might put this guy here because this is my next biggest space here. And then maybe one of these sand dollars here. I'm not sure which one. Maybe the smaller one. Yeah. And then tell me, do you guys like watching me fiddle with this, or would you rather I just do this off camera? I never quite know how much of this process you want to see. Do you want to see me like fiddle around with this, or do you want me to put it all down and then kind of explain why I put things where? Tell me below, what do you guys want to see? I'll do whatever it is that you guys are most interested in watching. So I like to watch people do all of it. So, I don't have a preference, for myself. I mean, obviously I'm doing it. It's just a matter, do I have the camera on or do I turn it off? So it's up to you guys. You tell me, what do you want to see? And then I'll kind of go from there. I think I might show you just a little bit here and there. And then I think I might just play off camera and then show you like what I came up with. Because right now I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just kind of laying stuff out. Oh, I like that. Kind of adds to that title there, Ocean Shores Getaway, because that's what it was. That kind of is kind of cute. So I don't know. You tell me, what do you want me to do for future videos? I think for this one, I'm going to pause the camera and I'm going to fiddle with this, and then I'll come back and explain where I put things, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so everything's glued down, and I have made a couple of oopsies that I'm going to blame on brain fog. My cold medicine is just messing with me. So one of the things that I neglected to think about when I was gluing things down was that I was going to have flip flaps. So on this one right here, my poor little horsey ends up looking like a little headless horseman guy here after I added the flip flaps. But he's down, he's there, and it'll just be a nice little surprise when you open him up. That is that, and we're just going to have to live with it. I do love my little shark guy. I think he's absolutely adorable. I've got the little lobster here coming up out of the surf. I thought that was super cute. Love these sand dollars. Got the little camera here, a shell, and some other stuff. I really like how everything else came together. I don't love my little horsey being cut off there, but you live and you learn. I'm not going to throw away a whole page just because of one tiny error there. So I'm really happy with everything else. So the last thing we need to do is just get down some blingy bling bling. I haven't decided on what I want to use yet. I've got these ones here that I think kind of look like bubbles if we get these put down. And they're kind of like an iridescent rhinestone. And then I've got these ones here. We could either do these blue ones or these blue ones here. So we're going to kind of play with some of these and see how we want this to work. I think I'm going to start with these clear ones here. So let's get the rhinestones on. I'm just going to kind of put these in clusters of 3 around my other clusters. We got 1, 2, and I like to keep them fairly close to the existing clusters. Let's put one right here. Thank you to all of you out there who wished me get well wishes. I really wanted to make sure I said that. There was a lot of support on Facebook. I did make a post saying that I'm calling in sick. I really did have to call call in sick. I was down for the count. I am finally improving. I am able to almost breathe again on my own without coughing and hacking up a lung. So again, thank you to all of you who were so sweet and so kind on Facebook for sending me well wishes. I really felt them and I truly appreciated them. They made my day when I wasn't feeling good. So thank you to all of you who did that. It was the sweetest thing ever. The crafting community, I have to tell you, is just such a great community of just people who just love and care about each other, and we're always there for each other, giving support for people's channels and, you know, leaving such kind words on their artwork and things like that. So all of the nice thoughts and prayers that everybody sent me when I was not feeling well, I genuinely and truly appreciate you guys. It means so much to me. And then to all of you who sent me birthday cards, I can't thank you guys enough. I don't know why this is really sticking to that this time. What was I saying? Again, with the brain fog, I am really struggling to just be normal. I'm so sorry that did not come out right. I mean, I'm struggling to be normal me. I guess I'm not really normal, but I think this is done, you guys. I don't think I want to add much else. I think I'm really happy with how this all came together. The last thing I may do before I put this away is I may add some Wink of Stella to the surf of the ocean here, but my current Wink of Stella brush is empty and I can't quite get anything else out of it. So I have one in the mail to me that I've ordered and I'm waiting for it to get here. But I think I might take some of this and rub it along here to make it, you know, how like the sunlight hits the ocean waves and it gives that little diamond look almost. So we're going to give it some Wink of Stella when I get the new one in. Let's call this one done, you guys. I am hoping that I will be able to get this video up this week here. And again, I apologize for missing last week. I am trying to be consistent and get you a video a week. So as I bring this, I'm going to bring this up here so you can kind of see all of the little clusters, and I'm going to try and see what I'm doing here. There we go. So got the little camera and these are stamped in the petal pink. And then we've got the flip flap here. So this was me and my best friend. We've been best friends since kindergarten. Literally the first day of kindergarten we met, and we've been friends ever since. I'm sorry about the glare here. These are already in their flip flaps. And then this is me and my oldest daughter here with all the horses in the background. That's why I felt like I really wanted that little horsey guy on there. And then this is me and my best friend in the hot tub at the hotel. This is my youngest daughter, Alyssa. We were in a hat store and she wanted to try on this little, I don't even know, a squid. I think it's a squid hat. She's something else. And then this is me and my best friend here. We bought matching sweatshirts, so that was fun. Here we are wearing them out to dinner. And then can you see Alyssa's picking the little statue's nose? That's who she is. That's my Alyssa. And then here she is on the horse with Haley over here, riding the horses on the beach. That's one of my favorite things. I am a horse girly. And then we all had these t-shirts that my best friend found, and it says Girls Trip 2023. And this was our little weekend trip to the ocean. So down here we've got another little sand dollars, some of these little shells, and the little lobster. I think he came out super cute, and I love this ocean die set. This is just, I'm gonna get so much use out of that. I love it. Okay, and then over here you can see our letters, Ocean Shores, Getaway. I love that. That came out so good. Got me and my youngest daughter, my oldest daughter. There's Haley and Lissa, and then these are little flip flaps here. Here's everybody on the beach riding the horses, and that is myself and my oldest daughter, Haley. And then here is the whole group that went. This is my best friend and her daughter, Addie, and then Alyssa, myself, and Haley. So it was a nice little girls' weekend. And then over here, we took a picture of all of our feet standing on the beach. That was really fun. And then we had this little day tent thing, and we had sandwiches and stuff inside on the beach. It was so much fun. And then this is a little store at Ocean Shores. You have to walk into the shark's mouth to get inside the store. Hopefully you can see that without the glare. That was really fun. So there's all of us standing in front of that store there. And then this is where I'm going to put my journaling. I haven't done that up yet. I usually do that right before I put them in my book. And then here, my best friend and I were trying to do like matching jumps, and the girls were trying to take pictures of us while we were in the air. And then our little shark guy. All right, that's everything, you guys. I don't have anything more to add here. We're going to call this one done and get it into his album. And other than that, I will see you guys around here on YouTube. Bye-bye.